What's up, team? Today we're gonna go over touch and go deadlifts. Now you might have heard don't touch and go your deadlifts, do dead stop deadlifts. Well, normally we would want to, if we're powerlifting and concerned about bringing the most weight up in the concentric portion, we're gonna focus on that. You might see a lot of more explosive type lifters like CrossFitters, Olympic weight lifters, drop the barbell at the top. That's because they don't wanna waste the energy bringing it back down. And that's okay for them. Of course, we're gonna want to stay with the barbell on the way down for what we're doing. But with touch and go deadlifts, we can actually get a lot out of these if we're doing higher volume with deadlifts or want to ingrain a better positioning in our deadlift and have that repetition. For example, right now in Team Unchained, we're in a hypertrophy cycle. And so it's kind of a good opportunity to have that extra time under tension on the way down and focus on figuring out our positioning, where we're feeling it. Now with the touch and go, it's not bounce deadlifts. Okay, we're gonna control down. It doesn't need to be a super slow eccentric. We're not doing crazy long tempos or anything, but we wanna control down. And what I like to do here is act like I'm going to, the floor is made of glass. And so I'm trying to set it down gently, or at least you're trying to not make a lot of noise. So we're bringing it down gently, but we're not losing tightness at the bottom. You're not gonna lose your brace. You're not gonna just shift the weight forward, your weight forward. We are going to stay super tight. So as soon as you touch the ground, you can go right back up and be in a good position and make every rep the same. Side, me doing good touch and go deadlifts, and then me doing one where I shift forward, lose my positioning, and lose my tightness on the way down. So the first two, I'll do good. The second two, I will do where I get loose. If you notice on those second ones, my knees are a little bit more forward. I did touch and go them, but I didn't stay in that good position. And so it's all about keeping tight, keeping that weight back, and making sure each rep is set up. Now, if you start misgrooving it, you start to bounce. So what I mean by bounce is we're not gonna be doing this. If you have bumpers, it's going to be even bouncier. But if you start to do that, it's okay to reset. Now, honestly, if you have to do a dead stop or reset, that's better than doing bad touch and go deadlifts, because eventually we're gonna go back to the dead stop deadlifts, because that's going to carry over a little bit more when we're going into more of a strength cycle or building 3 reps or less. So that's gonna start focusing more on that concentric strength. But we're gonna get a little bit extra work with a little bit lower percentages, a little bit extra work out of each set just by doing the touch and go deadlifts. But I want them to be controlled, not a slow eccentric, and make sure that they are consistent. Now, let's talk breathing on the touch and go deadlifts. I forgot to mention that earlier. So normally on a deadlift, you're gonna brace at the bottom of the lift or before you start the lift. With the touch and go deadlifts, of course you wanna do that your first rep, but it's at the top of the deadlift when you're totally locked out, squeezing your glutes, the weight is, off your low back, you're nice and steady where you wanna breathe. So when you stand up with the deadlift, take a second, rebrace, and then go back down, touch, back up at the top. You're not totally out, but then rebrace. Okay, you can go a few reps without rebracing if it is a weight that's light enough, but don't feel like you need to rush through these once you're at the top. That you have to go straight back down. It's just almost like a squat. At a squat, you're not going to just rush between reps. If you need to rebrace at the top, that's when you're going to rebrace. Since we are focusing on both the concentric and eccentric portion of these, you're going to want to breathe and brace at the top after your first rep.